webinar. My name is Tom Quessy, and I'm the head of digital sales here at LKCS. Today, I'm going to be talking about marketing automation and some of the tools we offer to reach your goals. Let's see. Sorry, slight hiccup in the slides there. Let's see. There we go. So before we jump into it, for anyone who may not be familiar with us, I would just like to take a second to go over who we are here at LKCS. LKCS was founded on the core values of providing the best service, high quality, fast turnaround, and fair pricing. And we continue to stand by these values today as we evolve our marketing, digital, print, mail, and statement services to fit the needs of our customers. We're a full service marketing company, and we've been in business since 1961. And we've worked predominantly with financial institutions the entire time. We provide a full range of products and services, but today we're going to be focusing on digital marketing and automation. However, if there's anything else that you're wanting to learn about, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. In this webinar, I'll be breaking down marketing automation and the ways that it can improve your team's effectiveness when it comes to the consistency of your campaigns, the accuracy of your targeting, and meeting your marketing goals. When used correctly, it can make the day-to-day tasks easier and free up time to focus on the overall direction of your marketing. With time and care, you can refine your tactics and base your decisions on data-driven results. We'll start by going over the basics of what automation is and giving an example in a software that we use called ActiveCampaign. And then I'll talk and expand a bit on the best ways to get started with automation and what to prepare for when taking your first steps. Next, I'll discuss what you'll be doing as the automations are running and taking advantage of the data and tracking that will be in place. And then lastly, I'll be breaking down some of the tools that we offer that are great for supporting your digital marketing efforts or that have their own forms of automation. And I'll be briefly talking about Sitefinity, the LKCS tool suite, and our social media management tool and chat systems. So let's start by breaking down what marketing automation is. Automation is the use of software technology to automate repetitive manual marketing activities. The common ones being avenues like email, text messaging, lead and conversion tracking, systematic follow-up, and more. Automation is a great tactic for keeping a consistent presence with leads that you currently have and hitting the benchmarks needed to close. It can help grow your audience, strengthen relationships, and encourage your audience to take that next step. So why do we want to use this? Well, first of all, it saves a lot of time. It improves the quality of our engagement with our audience, and it leads to increases in our leads and conversions over time. So as that second bullet point I had hints at, most automation is based on data that you're actively collecting. Your marketing will be automatically reacting to actions that your users are taking. So asking things like, did they open or click on a link within a specific email? Did they forward that on? Did they visit a page on your website? Did they submit a form or use a calculator on your site? View a video, download a PDF? These are all examples of actions that could be tracked and acted upon within different systems or with different tools in place. So let's put this in context. Here's an example of a very simple automation track within ActiveCampaign. This is an email marketing automation system that we use. And in this example, it's using an update to a field to enact a series of emails. In this case, once the system detects that the contact's number of dependents has changed, then it will send them down this automated track, sending out several emails over the course of a couple weeks. One of the reasons I introduce this as simple is because it's simply starting the automation with that change in the contact's information, then sending an email, waiting for some time to pass, then sending the next email in that sequence. This might be all you need, but with software like ActiveCampaign, you could start breaking this track out and reacting to how receptive your user is to specific emails throughout it. For instance, we can see at the very bottom where this tree actually forks, and it asks the question, has this contact scheduled a meeting with us by this point? If yes, we go down that left path where the automation ends because it's done its job. And if no, then we move on to another tactic. And that could mean more emails, or maybe it could mean that we trigger an email notification to someone on our team. Or maybe this would be a good time to reach out with a more personal touch. We could also set these branching moments throughout the whole automation, where we can gauge interest sooner by asking questions like, did they open up the previous email, or did they click on a specific link within the last email? Depending on that, we could tailor the following email's content to that specific contact's interests. And this is what I meant in the last slide where I mentioned improving the actual quality of our engagement with our users. Most of the tools that facilitate automation, like ActiveCampaign, will also have ways to track where your leads currently are in the process. And this kind of thing can help give a top-down view of how effective these automations are and how many users are passing through them at any given time. So like we can see here, this is tracking which users are in a state of interest, if users are actively researching, ready to close, have closed, or users that aren't responsive anymore. And this is just an example. You could name those kind of categories anything you wanted that helps your organization keep track of it. So if needed, it can be a great way for your team to take a more manual approach to certain subsections of your contacts. For instance, anyone getting sorted as not responsive might be contacts that we want to try a different approach with. And we can segment these groups into smaller sections where it makes sense to. And being able to gauge interests like this through tracking allows us to take further actions, whether that's setting up new campaigns to target specific segments we've created, or to add scores to these contacts to sort them in different ways that we can act on in the future. Scoring and segmenting can be really powerful tools when you're figuring out how to target your audience correctly. Within ActiveCampaign, you can also create goals with unique parameters to help keep tabs on the success rate of these automations. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. That was a brief look at an example of email marketing automation, but these kind of systems can feel a bit daunting to set up when you're just getting started. So let's go into our recommendations of what to start thinking about if automation really interests you. Automation saves us from a lot of future busy work, but the trade-off is that it takes a bulk of planning up front. We want to lay a solid foundation so that it's easy to keep building as we go. It's good to get a baseline of our main goals before starting with any automation. Ask yourself questions like, what should increase and what should be measured? Start looking at where you're at with marketing right now and what you're currently offering. Then start digging into what you're wanting to do with that actual automation. Ask things like, what are we trying to increase and what are our benchmarks that we'll be trying to hit? Will that be something like how many loans get closed over a period of time or how many people actually apply? And are these goals currently being measured? Do we even know that kind of information already? Once Only once we have a clear idea of what should be accomplished can we actually get started in here. I think a common mistake with automation is to jump straight in without a clear goal or plan of what you'll be doing. So when you get started, if you're a bit unsure of what results that you need to keep an eye on to confirm that these systems are working, that's a problem. You need to be able to watch for what's increasing or decreasing to know what to tweak or how to tweak pieces of the automation to improve it as it goes. So there's no limit to how marketing automation can be used, especially if you have the data that you can leverage throughout your campaigns. And that can also often be the biggest challenge, connecting the right user to their data. But these sorts of data challenges can be overcome. There isn't necessarily a one-size-fits-all solution to data management, so I won't be covering that too much here, but if you're interested in using something like ActiveCampaign, we can always set up a meeting with our team to review your situation and give advice on how we think you could best get things set up. We know it can sometimes be difficult to explain the need for automation, but we're more than happy to dive deeper into the benefits with a full demo of any of these softwares that I'll be talking about. And this may help you get more interest at the top and explain why it's worth budgeting for, and just how endless the marketing possibilities can be when it's used correctly. Once you have your main goals and vision laid out, it's time to get into the meat of the project. This starts by creating maps of how users will interact and travel through your automation tracks. This process will help visualize the journey before you begin using the software. Using free online tools, a whiteboard, or post-it notes can help discover any issues with the process and let you walk through in detail how the user will consume content. Mapping things physically can also lead to discoveries or paths that you might not have considered when just thinking about the broader goals. What does the lead up to filling out an application look like? What actions are the user likely to be taking before getting there that signals that they're interested? These are moments where automation can help you strike while the iron's hot. And once you have your data in place and journeys mapped, that's where the fun starts. Begin small with ideas that don't involve a lot of different aspects of automation, and start with the basics and keep building on your success. So the first automation you build doesn't have to be the most ambitious thing that you've brainstormed so far. Start with something you know. It's smart to walk before you run in systems like this. So beginning with something simple can get you and any other employees that will need to be part of the process some time and experience with the system. Having a simple automation running for a bit can help you see exactly where it can feed into your team's workflow and the best way to benefit your organization. This is where you may find some best practices specific to you, and it will help you not to run into them when you're creating your larger scale automations, which just inevitably will be harder to go back and correct or revise. Like I mentioned before, automation takes some upfront work to get started. Once you have the general paths planned out for one of your tracks, you'll need to create the content for each touch point throughout that journey. To be successful, marketing automation takes a significant amount of engaging content. And we're not going to lie, this is the area of automation that can take the most time, but will be very rewarding in the end. So we always suggest asking subject matter experts at your bank or credit union to provide details about their specific departments that might be beneficial to your track. What are some different approaches you can take throughout that journey that might catch someone's interest? Your content should try to utilize different tactics. You don't want to be spamming your audience with generally the same email over and over. This should be a process that allows you to engage them in a variety of different ways and hopefully land on one that spikes their interest. Once you have automations running in the background and some time passes, you'll be able to start refining these customer journeys a bit more. It's time to take what we've learned from our automations and test out some tweaks. Start by asking some questions. First off, any data that stands out is a really useful metric to key in on. Are there specific emails or moments that are performing better than anything else on the track? For example, maybe an email has a subject line that's causing many more people to open it. And this would be something that we could try to recreate through the rest of our track. Do we have a section of the automation where our users actually stop interacting with it? This could mean the automation is too long, or maybe we're sending with too much frequency. You could up the intervals between sendings to help alleviate that. And could the automation benefit from changes in just the overall strategy? These are the kind of questions to ask yourself as you review the results of this kind of marketing. All the footwork of creating these emails is complete at that stage, but this is the kind of tweaking that you can do with automation to start maximizing your benefits. How can we get this running like a well-oiled machine? And whether you like it or not, even the best of automations need to be supported by other elements of your digital presence. So if the end goal of an automation is to get the user to apply for something, but your application is poorly built, that's going to be a big problem. So we should consider what other digital tools we're using and connecting to this. While these automations are running, we can get more insight on what actions users take along the way. So we can ask things like, do any of these actions correlate directly to conversions? Sometimes you might discover that a particular part of your process leads to more users hitting your end goal. For instance, if you're able to track who's visited the rates page on your website, you may find that users who do view your rates are extremely likely to apply for the product. And this sort of discovery might lead you to advertise your rates in more prominent ways across your website. You can also see if other marketing avenues can connect to the automation in meaningful ways to give it a boost. Things like social media, digital ads, and other sources could lead to landing pages that feed directly into your automations. And like I mentioned at the beginning, it's also important to look at other digital services you're providing that might be an issue. If the automations are directing users to a website or application that is either messy or hard to use, then that needs to be addressed. So this leads us to the other tools we offer that can be a gigantic help to your marketing team. I'll be talking about standout features of some of our most prominent digital marketing tools. Like automation, these are all tools that can streamline your marketing work. So let's start with Sitefinity. Your website is the most important marketing tool that you have. You should have a content management system that lets you easily make updates and edits to your site, and we recommend Sitefinity for this. With Sitefinity, you can easily change headers and body text, rearrange your navigation structure, add and replace images, add and remove pages, adjust layouts, and utilize any media that you might have. So let's walk through some of these features that are invaluable when combined with automation. Here we are in Sitefinity viewing the pages for this particular website. And from here, we can click on any of these to get in and edit the content on our pages. We can see what pages are currently published and live on the site, and we can very easily reorder these in any way that we might like, which can then be immediately saved and published to change the navigation of the live site. This is as simple as dragging and dropping pages into new positions or into these groups we see, if we wish them to be nested beneath another page. And we're also able to create new pages from here and drop them into the nav. Being able to easily manage your navigation and create new promotional pages is very valuable when we pair that with any tracking we might be using in our automations. On screen now is an example of what you see in Sitefinity when you're actually making edits to a page. In this editor, you'll notice that the elements on the page get separated out into different widgets. These widgets are boxes that can be dragged onto the page and then edited independently. After dropping these on the page, we can easily add elements like call to action buttons, images, specially styled sections, or text blocks. Sitefinity also has higher tiers of licensing available where we can take advantage of advanced features like personalization and A/B testing. Personalization especially is a great one to mention because it leverages data just like the automations that we've been talking about. Personalization would allow us to show content that is tailored to a specific group of users that we refer to as personas. For example, if our data was to identify the current user that was browsing, was someone we flagged as a person that's interested in a mortgage, we could have that auto loan ad on the right-hand side default to something else that we've created advertising our mortgages. If this was set up in conjunction with ActiveCampaign, clicking on that advertisement could even start that user down one of our email marketing automation tracks. This, of course, would require us to identify the user somewhere along the way, but that's very possible. And when combining tools like this, we can create these meaningful marketing moments that kind of set a domino effect in motion just by putting the right content in front of the right person and them clicking on one link. After you complete your edits on any of the pages, you'll have all your publishing options located at the top. Here you'll be able to make the decision of how you want to move forward with this page. If everything's ready to go, you can hit publish to immediately push the page live, or save pages as drafts to continue your work later. You also have the ability to schedule this page to publish on a future date. So just like our automations, this is a great way to plan ahead and make your life easier. For instance, if you're looking to have something go live at a very specific time, with this CMS, you can schedule it down to the minute of when you would like to publish to the website. We often see this get used for promotional pages where you might want to set up a landing page for a specific offer. And this way, you can set up everything ahead of time for this page to go live exactly when the promotion starts, and then even unpublish itself when it's finished. Next, we'll be talking about some of the tools within the LKCS tool suite. This is a subscription service that is constantly being maintained and upgraded as time goes on. This is a suite of digital tools that integrate with our websites to make your life easier. And we built these tools with financial institutions in mind. So the tool suite includes many options that would fit in with the theme of assisting your marketing team and streamlining scheduling. But for today, I'm just going to focus on a handful. So we'll touch on the Rates Manager, a tool for making announcements on the homepage, and our tool for managing banners and ads across the website. So let's start with the Rates Manager. Our Rates Manager is an easy way to manage rates across the whole website. This helps simplify showing rates tables across many pages, but still only having to manage them in one place. So even if the rate is presented in different formats across hundreds of pages, you only have to make the change once in this tool, and it will be reflected everywhere that it's present on the website. So here's a screenshot of what this tool looks like on the back end. I'm showing one table here, but you could have as many as you want within the system. To make changes, all I need to do is simply click into a cell and type in the new information. With this tool, it's incredibly easy to remove or move columns, rows, or any entries in this table. And when making changes, just like in the CMS I was showing earlier, you're able to save drafts in here, or even schedule rates changes to go live on certain dates. We also have access to a revision history of all the changes that have been made in the Rates Manager over time. This is great for compliance, as you'll be able to review the rates history anytime you should need to. The Announcement Manager tool in here lets us easily get urgent updates out to our users. So if you have a branch that has to close down suddenly due to weather, or you want to warn people browsing your site of an upcoming holiday that's going to force a change in hours, our announcement tool is a useful way to send out fast updates to anyone browsing your homepage. This can be amazing for getting out timely messages and can really help to cut down on calls asking about these sorts of events. Here's a screenshot of what this looks like on the back end. Messages are creating using this friendly text editor here, and these messages will slide down from the top of the homepage when someone lands on it. Here's what that looks like, and depending on how important the message is, I may even want to darken that color of the background or make it even clash more with the site's main brand colors. This would help it to stand out and ensure it's immediately seen. We also make it easy to manage your own banners on your homepage and smaller advertisements that can be placed across the inside pages of your site. Depending on your site's design, we can create simple ways for you to update the images, call to actions, and more on these featured areas of your homepage. Here, we can see an example of this manager. This shows us what banners are currently live, and we're able to disable or enable more banners from the library. On each of the banners, we can get information about how many unique clicks each has gotten so far. We can upload several versions of the same image to better fit across different screen sizes. We can edit alternative text to meet accessibility requirement and easily schedule banners to go live or take themselves down at specific times. So these three tools that I've shown here are just a handful of the tools available in the LKCS tool suite. We also have tools for managing things like third-party pop-ups, event calendars, career listings, and managing the sales of repossessions and more. Please reach out if you're interested in seeing more of that tool suite in action. It's a very powerful marketing service. Next, I want to take a look at our social media management tool. With our platform, you can easily create, schedule, and analyze the content you post on social media. We offer seamless integration with multiple social media platforms, so you can connect your business pages on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Business Profile, and YouTube to our platform and manage them all from one panel. Here we can see a snapshot of what the main management section looks like within the platform. And this truly makes scheduling and managing your posts a breeze. One of the key features of our tool is the ability to monitor brand recognition. You can respond to social media messages, posts, and comments directly in the tool, keeping a close eye on what people are saying about your brand. Additionally, you can also monitor employees, product names, and even competitors' social media activity and mentions, all from one place. You and your team can stay on top of every post on your social media sites with our inbox and email notifications. And you can also automate responses to certain activities, saving you time and effort. This also includes a handy keyword monitoring feature, so setting up any terms to be monitored over these platforms and staying informed about trends and sentiments around those keywords. You can also get customized reports of your social media posts and mentions and monitoring on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. If you need to delve deeper into the data, you can easily download all the posts, profiles, and user data for further analysis and archiving. By taking a strategic approach to social media and utilizing our tool's features to control, systemize, and automate your activities, You'll not only mitigate potential risks, but also increase the efficiency of your team. Plus, our tool makes it easier for them than ever to harness the power of social media for your business. Lastly, I'll just talk a little bit about the advantages of our chat systems and chatbots. And because we're focusing in on automation today, we'll kind of focus a little more on the chatbot portion. Just in general, chat services can improve the communication on your site and instantly help field some of the more common questions. This can be a big improvement to your customer service by giving the user a lifeline if they ever feel like they've hit a dead end while browsing your site or are just looking for details on a topic. As I'll show in a moment here, with a chatbot, you can also become a 24/7 digital service branch and help field more complex questions even without someone manually monitoring it. And this will give your users a support system that we've all come to expect while navigating a modern website. In particular, chatbots feed directly into what we've been discussing with automation. On the screen, you'll see a track that probably looks very familiar to the active campaign automation we already looked at earlier in the presentation. Chatbots use similar methods that you set up ahead of time to accurately field common questions. A lot of this is done by identifying keywords that the user mentions to lead them down the correct path. So if this user mentions mortgages or another specific word when asking their question, the bot will then take them into that path that you've set up for the topic. We can also set up buttons to prompt the user with certain subjects to streamline the process. If an agent is available, they can immediately request to speak to them. If not, and the track fails to lead them to the answer they're looking for, then the bot can always fall back to your contact form, which will get that question into your team's hands during business hours. Missed questions like that are also tracked and noted. That way, when reviewing the tracks you've created, you may see an opportunity to create a new track for that line of questioning. Tools like this can be both great for your site's user experience, but also for cutting down on the amount of phone calls that your employees are receiving, and may catch a lot of those common simple questions, things like what are your hours, or where can I go for the routing number on the site, anything like that. And that really covers everything I wanted to discuss for our marketing teams out there that are looking to automate more of the busy work, streamline your customer journeys, make more data-driven decisions, and get better end results. I hope this helps if you were interested in finding out more about the tools that we recommend when heading in this direction. I know all of these tools have a lot of moving parts, which can be hard to demonstrate all within one webinar. But if you found yourself interested in anything I presented, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're constantly doing demos for all these tools, and we would love to set up a meeting and dive deeper into them. That way you can get some one-on-one time to slow us down and ask any questions you have about the specifics of the tools that you're interested in. As always, we here at LKCS are ready to help you with any new projects you have in mind. So please get in contact with me or any of our sales reps to get started. Thanks so much for attending the webinar. Again, my name is Tom Quessy, and I'm the head of digital sales here at LKCS. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to stay on the line for the next few minutes to answer anything that comes through the chat. Thanks again for attending, and we hope to see you at our next webinar.